Going on, Shannon?
Morning.
Good morning, Daryl. How are you?
Excellent.
Good. Denise, how are you? Denise,
Can you hear me?
I can now. How are you?
I'm good. I need to figure out how to make sure I can turn my audio off because I'm the one that doesn't know how to use the
Okay,
system.
so there is in probably your left-hand corner, there's a little microphone. It says mute, unmute. That's all you have to do. But I can also do it for you. You are now muted, which is fine. So go ahead and practice the unmute. Unmute it, Denise.
Unmute now. Okay,
There you
here
go.
I am.
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
I'm gonna try muting. Tell me if it
Okay.
works.
Okay.
We're good.
There you go. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing well.
How's your swimming going?
It's non-existent. There's no pool for me to get into.
You mean you didn't venture out to a lake somewhere and try to
Oh, if I could
at
strap
least-
my three kids, if I could strap my three kids on my back, I would. But unfortunately,
I have to imagine you're going crazy and overwhelmed by about this point.
oh, we're lucky. We've got space outside. We've got about 7 acres. So I just tell them to get out of the house and run around, and that seems to do the trick.
That is a really good thing. And then give them little things to do and by the end of the day, the next thing you know, they're wanting nothing to do but go to bed.
Oh yeah. That's
Which is the
exactly
way it
it.
used to be, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've already pitched the tent out on the lawn. They don't want to sleep inside the house anymore. I swear. I have my children have gone feral. It's good though. I think it's the best thing for them.
Hilarious.
Good morning, Vince.
Good morning, Miriam. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you.
No. You are not okay.
Why?
You are fantastic. You are great. You're not okay.
I'm shit good. How about that?
I love it.
Great.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. We're on the clock, guys. I'm gonna ask for everybody to go ahead and mute, please. And then we're gonna get rolling on today's talk. But I kind of want to start today off with you guys. So you can do two things. You can either unmute or you can type into the chat. If you go to the bottom of your screen where it says chat, you can press that and then you can type in. And I have one question, and I'm trying to look for a theme here before I get started going into today, because I think I'm going to hear by this point some of the same things. And what I'd like you to do is just either tell me or type into the chat kind of how you're feeling at this point. You know, are you feeling motivated, unmotivated? And no answer is wrong. Because I think I'll be able to talk a little bit and answer some of your feelings today that you're kind of going through. So if you don't mind, go ahead and type into the chat, or just unmute real quick and give me 1 or 2 words of how you're feeling.
This is a good week, and I'm motivated this week.
Thank you, Lori. Kelsey, we're going to talk about that. Shannon, thank you very much. Ah, Caroline, beautiful. And you know what, Caroline, I get it. I kind of know right where you're at. Hey, Kelsey, can you do me a favor? Can you unmute Kelsey Ziegler? Can you unmute for me? I'd like to, I'd like to hear from you on your feeling, please.
Hi, I'm unmuted.
Tell me where your disappointment's coming from.
I think just in probably certain ways that certain things are being handled. Maybe like division and just kind of people being overly opinionated, and I was really encouraged by humanity, and then there's just been, I feel like people are maybe just stir crazy, and so they're starting to just get negative, and so that's disappointing.
And you could not be more correct in your feeling. You could not be more correct. On that note, I had a friend of mine. We were both wrestlers. We both wrestled each other in high school, and I'd say we were both pretty good wrestlers. And we remained friends throughout the years. And he showed me, he lives back east. We were both, he works in New York. I was born and raised in New York, and worked there for quite a few years before moving over to New Jersey. And he showed me a video. He took a video the other day. He was down on 57th Avenue in Manhattan. If you don't know New York City, what you do know is that 57th is like the nucleus of Manhattan. Okay, everything converges and everything happens from there. There was not more than 5 people on the streets and 3 cars in all of Manhattan. And the part that you're talking about, Kelsey, came just yesterday, and he was furious. He was furious that people, humanity now, they were leaving their masks, their gloves on street corners all over the place. That's just one example of how we ruin things for ourselves. So your feeling of disappointment, when I saw that and he showed it to me and I commented back to him, I was blown away. Blown away. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic. Literally, our nation is shut down and people still behave. For the lack of better words, yeah, I'll just say in a very disappointing manner. That's just all I'll say. But so I understand where you're coming from. I really do.
Thank you. Yes.
And that's very valid. We're gonna talk about some of that today, though. Okay. Bob McCarthy, good morning. Tougher to get through the workouts without coaching. I love that, because I love the fact that coaching element brings a special flair to what we do. And I think you're right. I had a great conversation with a gentleman yesterday who trains here. And he said, you know, Vince, he said, one thing that's kind of helped me out is I've had a mirror at home to help me with my form. And I said to him, I said, man, I said, that's great. I said, at home, I think a mirror is a very good thing for you to have. He said, do you think you'll ever get him into the gym? And I said, let me think. No, not bringing mirrors into the gym. And he says, why? I said, well, let me ask you a question. When you're out running, do you have a mirror to your side and you're looking at the mirror when you're running saying, oh, is my form good? Or do you have to run and feel your form? Do you have to hike and feel your form? Do you, like if you go backpacking or you like to go camping and you're hiking or you're snowshoeing, do you have a mirror to see if your form is okay? No, you have to understand how to work inside your body. So Bob, yes, it is tougher to do a workout without the coaches because the coaches have a keen eye on you. They also know the form that you're supposed to be in, but we're trying to teach you the form that when you're doing stuff on your own, you're in the garage picking up a box, you're saying, okay, look, I know how to do this. I know, my back needs to be straight. My eyes need to be straight. I need to lower my hips. I need to get a good grasp, lock my lats. Those are the things we're hoping to teach you. So I would expect you to say that workouts are tougher without that type of guidance. So the value of having a coach there with you is huge, because your neurological system is trying to teach your musculoskeletal system what to do. And then your mind is sitting there going, well, how do I do this, that, and the other thing, right? So we'll unpack all of that as we get back into the gym, which let's kind of catch up a little bit on that. It looks like, and yay for restaurants and yay for gyms, that we will hopefully be in the first phase of the unpacking of this when we come out of it. What that's going to look like, we don't know. That will be guidelines laid out by our governor, but I can tell you this much here, myself and Gabe, we will be coming up with a plan of how we want to come out of this by the guidelines, and whether that means we can run things the way we were running them, meaning our classes are small to begin with, or if we need to tighten it down where, one group comes in the front door and we finish up and the next group goes out the back door and the next group comes in. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but whatever it's going to be, we're going to make it as simple and we're going to make it as safe as possible for you guys, and we will have a plan. So what is that plan tentatively going to look like? It's going to look like possibly, and we'll get it out to you guys in an email well before, we'll probably have a equipment return on the Saturday before we open up. Probably we'll try to open up on a Monday. That's the best way to try to do this. So we'll have an equipment return on Saturday. This allows us here to clean again and to get the company in that I need to get in on Sunday, because I want everything sprayed down with the highest antibacterial that we can. The stuff that they're using, and you see it in the cities and subways and all that stuff. I have a gentleman that'll be coming in here on the Sunday prior to us opening up to make sure that we are clean and green, ready to go. It may mean that let's say we have our board set up and we have different exercises. Let's say we have a rack exercise, and then we have some dumbbell or kettlebell exercises, and then we have a body weight exercise to finish that series off with. Well, what we can do is we can put a set of people on the racks, we can put a set of people on the dumbbells, and we can put a set of people on the body weight. Once that set is done, we just rotate, we clean, and we'll have disinfectant right there, and we just wipe things down and we move on. And that's how we treat each group throughout the day. So we will be, and we do have a plan here ready to come back. We will have that plan tightened up over the course of the next couple of weeks. I don't think, and I'll talk about it here as I get into the presentation. I don't think that May 1st is going to be that day. I could be wrong. I don't know if May 15th is going to be that day, but I got to tell you this much, guys. I don't really care. I don't really care what the day is, because I'm not thinking about that day. And so I'm going to get into a little bit of the presentation now, and where I want to go with this thing. Hopefully everybody's got a cup of coffee. Hopefully everybody has something to write a little note down, because I really do want you to have a takeaway from today. We're about probably 4 weeks or so into this thing. So I want to make sure that you take a note here or there, because I think there's some really good stuff that I'm going to be getting after here in a second. Okay. Hopefully everybody has their coffee. So we'll just get cracking into this and we'll see where we go. So a couple of things I heard were disappointment lack of motivation, some days good, some days bad, some days tough without coaching. But I think the real key here is productivity. Productivity. So some of the things you're going to hear me talk about today, guys, are going to be repetitive, because the way we win this game, the way we win any game, the way we get better at anything we do is repetition, 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 repetition. So if you say to yourself today, oh yeah, I heard this on Wednesday, or I heard this last week, well, get over it, because you're going to continue to hear it. Because in anything you do in life, and I learned this early on, you don't win with the fancy things. You win with the basics. So I'm always going to go back to basics, because that's what you win with. Okay. I heard a great interview one time with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And I'm not a New England Patriots fan, but I'm not a Tom Brady fan. But anyhow, he was asked one day, he said, you guys have such a great, talented team. And is that one of the secrets of why you win? And he laughed and he said, no, that's not why we win. He said, and honestly, we're not talent-wise, we're not the most talented team. He said, but this is what we do. He said, we take 2 plays in each practice, and we just run the same 2 plays the entire practice. Now think about on an NFL team or any team, how boring that could be if you were at your job every day and you just practice 2 theories. He said, but what happens is when we get into a game and it's really tight, we go to those 2 plays and we already know you cannot defend those 2 plays. You can't defend them. He said, that's how we win. If you really think about it, you watch them, and you know the game of football, there's some truth to all of that. So we win with the basics. So if you're getting ready today to hear this profound new thing, you're probably not going to hear that today. Okay, so don't unclick. Sit tight, because we're going to talk about some really cool things. So when I'm talking about productivity during times like this, which are unprecedented, having motivation and being productive can be really tough. But having the motivation and learning how to stay productive will get you through anything, whether it's a workout, your work day, learning with the kids, or this whole social distancing phenom that we're going through. Okay? Let's face it, changing your lifestyle is not easy. Okay? Changing your lifestyle is not easy. And for some folks, it's a daunting task, because sometimes what it means is that you have to change the person. You have to do things that you ordinarily would not have done in an unordinary way. Okay? I had a conversation yesterday. I had another issue at the house. Just seems to be like things hit at the worst time, but that's okay. It kind of, for me, it's a little bit exciting. It's a little bit of a pressure. It's like, oh my gosh. And I mean, these are not little things. These are like things like how bad can this get, right? But I had a gentleman who came over because he needed to provide a service that I have to have done at the house, because if I don't, then part of the structure of my house will probably be gone. But anyhow, he asked me what I did. He saw my shirt, and I told him. And he said to me, I said to him, and his name's Pat. I'll just leave it there. And I said to him, I said, so are you doing anything to stay healthy during this time? And I offered him up our programs for him and his wife. He says, no, he says, I'm 60 years old and I'm a procrastinator. And I thought to myself, you're a procrastinator. And I said to him that. I said, so you're willing to procrastinate whether you're going to live or die, because you're not taking care of yourself. And he told me, he says, yeah, I have, that, what's that high A1C. And I'm thinking to myself, buddy, you don't even know that that's blood pressure, right? You don't know that your cholesterol levels are probably jacked, or you do, and you're not willing to do anything about this. That's unmotivated. If you're not willing to understand you got things going on with your health that are probably going to lend to your demise, or let's just say it doesn't kill you, but you're putting yourself now in a wheelchair and you're expecting your family to take care of you. Because you can't tell me you don't know that that's going to happen or that's not going to happen. You can't tell me that. Everybody in America knows that. I don't care what the highest education is or the lowest. We know when you have high blood pressure, when you have diabetes, when you have cholesterol levels issues, we know bad things are going to happen. Somewhere, somehow, they're going to happen. And you're not motivated? So let's talk about motivation for a minute. There's been a lot of times in everybody's life when you had to be motivated to do something, okay? That could be your health. All of a sudden you went to a doctor. I had a guy one day come in here, walk down the hallway. I had just met him, and I actually met him at the Purple Place. He was talking to he was there with a friend of mine who was a football coach. And it was funny, the day that I saw both of them, they had the biggest cheeseburgers and fries and onion rings and everything on the table. And of course, when I walk in, they're always like, oh, don't look at what I'm eating. It's like, I could care less. That's your gig, right? So I walked out. I pleasure meeting him. And I kid you not, it was 3 days later, he walks into the gym and he walks down the hallway like he had seen a ghost. And he says, hey, can I have a minute of your time? I said, sure, Mark, what's going on? He says, hey, I just went to see my doctor, man, and I've got some issues. He says, can you help me? So we sat down, and he had some serious issues. And I said, absolutely. Well, long story short, he was 200 and, let's just take it for the sake of conversation, 260 pounds on that day. And he today hovers anywhere between 208 and 213, and he no longer has those issues. So health became that motivating factor for him. But maybe you had to get ready for a test, or maybe you had a business deal that you had to deal with, or a job interview, or for people who played sports, it was a game and you had to be motivated. You had to find ways to get over a ton of obstacles. Well, guess what? You're in that same position today. And you're in that same position every day until we come out of this. And then the obstacles will be different, okay? These times are going to pass. Things will be different, though. And when things change, and when we do come out of this, you have to truly believe in your heart, no matter what, we will be stronger when we come out of this, because of the lessons we learned when we were in this, the changes that we made while we were going through this, whether it was in your home, whether it was in your business, whether it was in your relationships. No matter what it was, you made the change. Because if you stay the same, and I've said this before, Tony Robbins has said this, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. Is that what you want? So again, I talked a week or so ago, it's time to pivot, folks. Okay? It's time to pivot. So we're going to talk today about how we can handle being overwhelmed, staying motivated, and outlast this craziness. Because there's no timetable, guys. I love the fact that they're throwing the bait in the water. But Kelsey, there's 3 things I've learned to live by in my life. I trust none of what they say. I trust only half of their actions, but I trust all of their patterns. And that's people in general. I trust none of what they say. I trust half of their actions, but I trust all of their patterns. Remember, this period of time will not last. And I said it on Wednesday, there's a great motivational speaker, Vivian Green. And the way I'm approaching this, and that's why I said, no matter what's going on in my life now, good, bad, or indifferent, this strikes me and always has. And what Vivian said was, life is not about waiting for the storm. It's about dancing in the rain. It's not about waiting for the storm. What's going to hit next? Okay. Or ready for this one? Thinking about what's going to hit next, or something changes in your life. And all of a sudden, the first thing that goes out of your life is, yeah, I'm not going to work out today. Oh, you know what? My breakfast really wasn't that good. So, I'll just start getting back into my good food plan tomorrow. Or how about this one? I'll start working out again with weights and everything and do my weight training when I get back, when the gym opens back up. Is that really dancing in the rain? I've talked about controlling the controllables. Controlling the controllables. So, Kels, here's the deal. Ready? And I loved what you said, humanity being disappointing. Why are we allowing us to focus on what other people are doing? Let's control the things we have control of. We don't have control of people throwing their garbage on the ground unless we see it. Then it's how do we respond to that? We don't have control that the banks don't have any more money. How do we respond to that? We don't have control of whether or not there's going to be a round 2 and we can submit the application, but we do have control to make sure that we have the prepared documents ready to go when those applications do come out. So let's control the controllables. Let's not focus on what everybody else is doing. Let's control what we have control of in our own lives. Let's use fear. I love the word fear because people out there are scared. I've heard it. We've all felt it. But fear is 2 things, guys. And again, if you have pencils, write it down. Fear, F-E-A-R, is 2 things. It's false evidence appearing real, or F, everything and run. Well, folks, I've never been a runner in life, and I'm not running now. I'm going to control the things I have control of. I'm going to use my fear in a very positive manner, and I'm going to use it as fuel. So use your fear as fuel. And ultimately, you have to stay strong. You have to stay strong through all of this. And we're going to talk about why that staying strong is so important. So there's a little bit about motivation. Get what you can utilize for motivation. So for me, I'll use fear as motivation. That's a great thing. I'll use the things that people tell me no about, and I'll control that. I'll control what I have control of. And a great example of that was, guys, and I've said it all the time, I never should have been a Division I football player. For crying out loud, I wasn't 6'3". I wasn't 6'4", 6'6", okay? But I had control of 2 things, how fast I could be and how strong I could be. And if I could use those 2 elements to make plays, I could play anywhere. So not only did I play Division I football, but I was the captain and sole captain my senior year of a Division I football team. And we played big schools, Pitt, Penn State, Georgia, Rutgers. I mean, we played big schools. And I really never should have had an opportunity to play in the NFL. but I took care of my controllables and was able to create that opportunity. And we're going to talk about opportunity here in a minute. So that's just a little bit about motivation and how you attack each day. If you choose to say, oh, my back hurts, my shoulder hurts, and that's why I'm not going to work out, yeah, you didn't find out the real motivating factors. You just chose not to do it that day, those 2 days, that week, whatever it is that you ran into. Okay? That has to pivot and change. So when that happens, now you become overwhelmed. That was one thing I didn't hear. Maybe I missed it. But you become overwhelmed. You become overwhelmed with humanity. You become overwhelmed with the banks. You become overwhelmed with the loans. You become overwhelmed. And the reason you get overwhelmed is you lose because you have lost focus. You've lost focus, so everything starts coming into your mind. And by the end of the day, you've started everything and finished nothing. Remember, crisis equals danger and opportunity. Crisis equals danger and opportunity. So we have a crisis, it's presenting a danger, but we have opportunity. And we have opportunity to take advantage of what's available to us. We have an opportunity to do things differently, right? Whether it's in your home, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your relationships. You have an opportunity to do things differently. Take those opportunities and turn them into treasures. So you've heard me speak early on about this. What's your goal at the end of all this? Have you really written down what your goal is? And I believe Gabe is on, but Gabe teaches people a lot of times to write down their goals, because his philosophy, and Gabe, if you are on and I'm misspeaking, please tell me. His philosophy is if you write it, that's you. You committed to that. You wrote it down. That's who you are. So what is your goal at the end of all this? And again, folks, if you want to be the same, then don't change anything. But I can't believe there's anyone on this line or anyone out there that doesn't want to change something in their lives. Okay? If your goal is that you want to be trimmer, then do it. If your goal is you want to be stronger, then do it. If you still want to be in business, we're going to talk about that. Because it's going to be some of the things you heard before. The question is, have you found the recipe to do it? Because yes, for any business people out there, the goal is always to be in more business. But what is it about your business that you want to be better than what it was before? That's the ultimate goal, because that's what's going to make you stay in business. Understand too that no matter what your goal is, and you got to decide who it is you want to be, who you want to be, because who you want to be and the changes you make will be the difference your household will be the difference that your business will be when you get back. And who do you want to become? Okay? Whatever it is, watch this, guys. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. I can tell you right now, there are things in my household that I can promise will not be the same. Will not be the same as it was before. And it shouldn't be. It's better. Whether it was differences I made to the structure of the house, things I had to do outside, or different things we had to do as a family. It's not going to be the same. Business is not going to be the same. Folks, business owners who are online today, or in a business today, or working with a business, People are going to come back very cautious. Some people, and please make sure, guys, you are muted. Mute, mute, mute. People are going to come back very cautious from this. Some people are going to still want to just do the Zoom calls, which are great. People are still going to want to do small groups for us. People in restaurants, we're going to have different guidelines. My guess, servers may be serving with masks and gloves on. There will be a mandate of 6 feet away. I don't know what it's going to be, but I can tell you what, from a liability standpoint and from a political standpoint, they're not just going to open up the floodgates and say, hey, go back to the way things were. Not right now. Maybe not by the end of summer. Again, no timetable, don't know, but things are not going to be the same. And again, there is no time limit on this pandemic, folks. And the other thing I'm cautioning and looking ahead to, which is positive, is what happens if we have to do this again in the wintertime? I promise you, we'll be ready here. We're going to be ready for it. Are you going to be ready for it? Are you going to be ready for it at home? Okay. So when you're overwhelmed, just remember, crisis equals danger equals opportunity. But how you respond will be everything. How you respond will be everything. So let's unpack that a little bit. How do you respond? Well, you respond with your mindset. And I've talked to people during the week, and I'm really trying to hit all hours and different people all days. And I'm finding this flow of the mindset. Some days are good, some days are bad. Some days are overwhelming with the on-school teaching, online teaching, all the perils that life can deal to you, okay? But you must have, again, if you have a pencil, please write some of this down. You must have very clear goals. Before this, during this, and after this, and each day. You must have clear goals, and you have to have a strong mindset to become the lighthouse. Remember I talked about a lighthouse about a week or so? You have to become the lighthouse for your family, for your business, and for your opportunities. Because right now, people are looking for leaders. If you're waiting for somebody, go back to square one, productivity. Okay? So what do I mean by the lighthouse? So think about this big storm. Okay? Think about this huge storm, and there's all these boats out on the ocean. And they're all crashing in these waves and bumping into each other. But they can see that lighthouse on the shore. And they know that lighthouse represents two things: danger and safety. Danger because of rocks maybe around it, but they know when you navigate around that lighthouse, the shore is there and there's safety. So be the lighthouse. Business people, be the lighthouse for your people, for your members, for your patrons. Be the lighthouse. Don't be the boat in the water, because some of those boats in the water aren't going to make it. You have the ability to plan your day the night before. Maintaining your household order, maintaining your bank accounts, your business, by having a strong mindset, and the last word being tenacious. tenacious. It's something I taught my son about just recently. You know, he's got different goals. He's trying to get into schools and he's trying to play baseball. And he's trying to do different things. And I told him, look, bud, every day you got to get up. You got to do this, this, and this. You got to call. You got to contact. You got to text. Did you text so-and-so? Did you do this? No. Okay, great. At the end of the summer, if you're still sitting at home, don't look at me. Don't look at your mother. That's on you. So the only thing I can do is show him every day. I'll call the bank. If I don't get the answer I want from the bank, which I didn't, then I get to tell the bank what I think and what I know. And then I get to make a decision. Do I want to stay with that bank? Yesterday, I had an issue with the house. I call a guy. He says, Vince, I'm not licensed to do that, but I'll have a guy call you. Great. Appreciate it, Craig. 3 hours later, I still didn't hear from that guy. Guess who I called? Craig. Hey, bud, did you get hold of your guy yet for me? Oh, God, yeah, Vince. He's supposed to be coming over to your house today. Let me call him right back. I go off the phone. My son's driving with me in the truck. I go, now that's called tenacious. Within 5 minutes, I had a phone call back, and by 2:30 yesterday afternoon, the guy was at my house. That's called tenacious. Now, some people will call it the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I hate that because that's annoying. Tenacious and the squeaky wheel getting the grease are not the same thing. And that's a whole nother topic we'll talk about at a different point in time. Are you setting your life up right now for a return? This is all part of your mindset, folks. I'm unpacking this for you. Are you setting your life up for a return? What will be different? What will be different when you return? Because life will be. And honestly, folks, life should be. Life should be different. This has taught me some really cool things. Okay? What did you change about you during this time? And guys, I don't know about you guys, but I self-assess all the time. And matter of fact, Gabe, I love him to death because he tells me, you know what, dog? He goes, it ain't that deep. Don't look at it like that. But for me, I have to. Because I'm always looking to change. I'm always looking to be a better me. Because when I can be a better me, I can be a better me for other people. And then the last thing I'm going to ask on the mindset, what have you done in your community? You know, I saw a cool thing, and I hope she doesn't mind me saying it. Well, I'm not going to say her name, but she's in this gym, and she put a thing on next door, and she said, for those of you out there who don't have any food or are struggling, you can name nameless. Just tell me what you need, and I will try to put whatever I have together for you and leave it on your sidewalk for you. That's just an act of human kindness. Kelsey, there's humanity for you. So some really good things are happening. But for the people who are on today, how many of you are doing things for that kind of gratitude? I try to do one a day. We'll talk about that here shortly. So now you have to know the game you're in. So we don't know the timetable here. We know we're hearing things about being unlocked, but know the game you're playing. And I don't mean that loosely, folks. I don't say this is a game. I don't mean it that way. But I always revert back to what I know best, which is athletics for me. I spent my whole life, most of my adult life, competing. And I know this, during a game, there's a regular season, and then there's the playoffs. And in the regular season, your desire, your amp, your preparedness isn't the same as the playoffs, because here's what you know. You know you have a game every Sunday. You know you have a game, maybe if it's baseball, every Tuesday, Thursday. You know, if it's track, you have a meet over here or whatever it is. A wrestling match is Friday night. Again, athletics, right? So your preparedness, how deep you have to dig in order to win is not the same as the playoffs. But folks, let me tell you right now, we're at, what's this, April 18th? We have now entered the playoffs. And it's win or go home. It's win or go home. So to answer the questions in business, this is the playoffs. And in the playoffs, things have to be a little bit different. You really have to be disciplined. Not that you don't in the regular season, but again, like regular season is a little laissez-faire because you know there's something coming next, right? So you're in the playoffs. Think of this now as being in the playoffs. Your kids are coming to the end of the school year. Got to be heightened a little bit because those grades have to be pretty good come the end of the year, right? This is the playoffs, so you got to be disciplined. You have to have a deep desire to dig deep. And you have to do whatever it takes to win. Otherwise, there is no tomorrow in the playoffs. It's win or go home. Your effort now must rise. Rise higher than it ever did before. So if you really want to succeed at something, whatever it is for you, and everybody's going to be a little different, how do you do this? So I mentioned 3 things about 2 weeks ago. Those 3 things don't change. Number 1, you have to have Disney-like creativity. And so the best example I have for that, and I've talked about from a business perspective of being online and doing things a little bit different, okay, was during the millennium, I took a trip, we took a family trip to Disneyland. And there was pandemonium on New Year's Eve in the park. You could hear the fireworks, just hundreds of thousands of people, plants being destroyed, flowers being destroyed, confetti all over the place. So I thought to myself, because my kids were young, I'm going to take them off. We're going to go home. We're going to go back to the hotel. Tomorrow morning, we'll get to the park early. A lot of these people aren't going to get to bed till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe later. They're not going to be in the park. Well, the next morning I was right. Got to the park. There weren't a lot of people. When I walked to the gates of the park, I was simply blown away. There was not one piece of confetti on the ground. There was not one bush, plant, flower that I could see that I knew was trampled the night before because I saw it. It was all replanted. Like the little elves and the little mice came out and just did it overnight. That's Disney-like creativity, guys. That's the wow factor. That's where people sit home and look at your business and go, wow, look at what they're doing with their takeout. Look at what they're doing to get people to come talk and see us. They care about it. Look at the value they're bringing to us. That's Disney-like creativity, folks. I'm not going to think about where the business is. I'm going to think about where I want the business to be. Because if I waste my time on the bad and the ugly, I'm just going down with the ship. And I'm not going to do that. Nor should you. Because the lighthouse, folks, there's the lighthouse. And people are looking to you to be that lighthouse. Number 2, I talked about productive paranoia. So it's wonderful now, right? Oh, wow. The governor and the president are talking about unlocking. Ooh, all the excitement. Yeah, I'm not getting excited. Remember the general I talked about in concentration camps? He was asked why people died or lived. And it was optimism. They were told 4th of July they were going home. Well, 4th of July came and it never happened. They were told Christmas they were going home. Christmas came and it never happened. So they died literally of a broken heart because they counted on something so strong. Are we going to come out of this? Yes. When we're coming out of it, I don't know. I don't care. Just give me the date. Just give me the date. I'll worry about it then. But I'll have a plan before that. Productive paranoia, having the plan. And then I've also talked about Jocko Willink, who is a Navy SEAL. And you have to have Jocko. If you've never looked it up, look at Jocko. You have to have Jocko Willink, that's Willink, like discipline. That man, rain or shine, no matter what's going on in his life, is up at 4:30 every morning. And that's all I'll say about that. You guys have the ability. You got Google. You got everything else. I'm telling you right now, look it up. But you got to know the game you're playing. And right now, you're in the middle of the playoffs. And it's win or go home, baby. It's win or go home. So when we talk about winning, let's talk about winning the day. Winning the day. Don't make the mistake about thinking of when this is going to end. If you think of the journey, you're bound to get overwhelmed. We just talked about that. So if you can answer yes to the following every day, then you've won that day. So let's talk about it. Did you stay disciplined? If the answer is no, you didn't win the day. Were you productive in your family, in your business, in your schooling, in your workouts, in your food planning, in your sleep, in your hydration, and go so on and so on and so on and so on? Were you productive? Did you give value to the people in your life? So I've made it a habit during this time, and I like to do it at other times, is telling my family members how grateful I am for them. Every day. Every day. Last night, I could tell you exactly what time it was. It was 8:44. I looked over at my wife and I said to her, I said, do you know how grateful I am for you? And she looked at me and she kind of shook her head. She goes, yeah. I go, now do you know how much I love you? She just kind of looked at me. Didn't say anything else. Looked at my son. I said, do you know how grateful I am for you? Do you know how grateful I am for what you taught me today? And do you know how much I love you? Did you invite new people into your life? Did you do your best to prepare yourself for the long run? If you can answer yes to every single one of those, then you have won the day. So practice winning the day. Clear your mind. So a good friend of mine, and I like to give credit where credit's due, gave me this example. And he said, right now your mind is like a vacuum. So, think about a shark vacuum. When it gets full, what happens? It doesn't work real well, does it? It overflows. So you have to empty it out. And right now, you ever see those big sewer vacuums that the county has? I swear they're hose vacuums about this big. That is what your brain is like right now, that vacuum. It's taking in all this information. So what do you have to do when your vacuum gets full? You got to empty it out. So here's a good drill. Make this a routine each day. Write down, take 10 to 50 minutes, 10 to 50, whatever it's going to take you. Write down every thought in your head. Just write it down. When you do this, you're emptying your brain and you're making space for what? New thoughts and new ways to solve problems. Write it down. Clear out the vacuum. So Vince Gabriel, thank you so much for that. That was spectacular. Plan your day the night before. So I was talking to somebody yesterday and I had her plan her day the night before. Okay. So let me give you an example of this. By doing that, again, I'm going to go back to athletics. When we start a football game, the first 15 to 20 plays of that game for your offensive team are already scripted. You're not deviating from that for any reason whatsoever unless it's a major catastrophe. So plan your day the night before. I promise if you do that, the next day you show up, you're going to show up with more motivation and you're going to show up with confidence because it's already there. So when you're planning your day, what's your big goal? Number one. What are your 3 daily priorities? And one of those 3 daily priorities moving forward from today, folks, please make it an act of kindness. What's your daily appointments? Additional tasks. Be home by what time if you're out and you are working? Okay. Learning and bedtime. That's just a quick overview glance of what a daily plan, making a plan for your day next day should look like. Okay. Big goal. What's your big goal? 3 daily priorities. One of those, please make them an act of kindness. Make your daily appointments, additional tasks. If you're working, being home by what time? Your learning time and your bedtime. Now, when you're doing all this, you have time blocks, right? You have time blocks. So I call it getting into the zone. There's 3 different types of zones, guys. You have your business zone, right? The one that makes your business go, whatever it is you have to do for your business. When I say your business, your job, okay? How are you going to make that thrive? Whether you're a teacher, you're a lawyer, you're a dentist, you're a trainer, you're a restaurant owner. That's your business zone. You got to be in that zone. What was that movie, White Man Can't Jump? Woody Harrelson, right? Hey, I'm in the zone, man. I'm in the zone. That's what I'm talking about. Then you have a buffer zone. This is time to organize, right? Organize what? Your backpack, your desk, learn new skills, new appointments, prep presentations, office computer files, organize those. When you take this step and you organize, it's going to help you with the next zone, which is your free day. Absolutely no work stuff. It's just a free day. But when you did step 2 where you cleaned and organized, it makes your free day easier. And that means literally no cell phone, no teaching, no nothing. It's your free day. Go for a hike. Again, clear the vacuum. So there's your time blocks. Have a great day every day, folks. Have a great day every day. Control your emotions. Remember, you can't control the event. You can only control the response to that event. Okay? That's what you can control. Control the controllables. There's 3 types of emotion, guys. There's physical. There's things you say. And then it's your focus. So let's unpack those. Physical, your body language. When you're on Zoom or when you are talking to somebody in public, what you might be saying is one thing, what your body language is saying is another, and the astute person will pick up on that. The things you say and how you say them will be an indicator to how you feel. Your focus, what you decide to focus on, is probably what you're feeling at the time. What do I mean? Oh, my knee hurts, so I'm not going to work out. Okay, that's what you're focusing on. Well, I had a bad meal for breakfast, so now I'm not going to do well the rest of the day. Well, that's what you're focusing on. So there's a cool little app. Again, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Vince hit me to this. It's called the Win Streak app. It's free. It's on your phone, where every day you go in and you just write down your wins. Why is that important? One, it shows you your productivity. Two, it's fun. Three, it sets you up for your next day. It motivates you. Okay? It's called the Win Streak. That just a little tool for you guys to have. And then really the last thing I want to kind of go over, what's the final mission? How do you accomplish all of this? How do you stay motivated? How do you not be overwhelmed? Well, I'm going to go back to basics, guys. You have to have incredible health. And as coaches, we always think, as trainers, we always think we know this or we should know this. But sometimes we need reminders as well, okay? And so do you. So think about this when you get up in the morning, or look at yourself at 12, 1 o'clock. Look at your personal hygiene. Are you still in your pajamas? Have you not washed your face, brush, or whatever your routine is? If you haven't done that, I can guarantee you, your day's probably not going to be as productive and as motivating as you thought it would be. Okay? So are you taking care of your food? Are you hydrating? That's one thing I caught myself not doing, was not hydrating as much as I should have. Are you exercising? Are you sleeping well? Are you meditating? Are you finding ways to clear out your vacuum? So that's really the final mission today, moving into next week. We talked about how to stay motivated and why, how not to be overwhelmed. What game are you playing right now? Know that. You got to know that. And I'll tell you right now, I just made it easy for you. You are in the playoffs. This is not the regular season, folks. And what's your final mission going into next week? Plan your next day. Win that day. Don't look at this thing as, oh, okay, I got 2 weeks to do. No. Seize and win every day. Stay disciplined. Disney-like creativity. Don't lose sight of that. Prepare where you want to be and who you want to be at the end of this by keeping your food right, your hydration right, your exercise right, your sleep right, and clearing your vacuum. Again, I want to give a shout out to Ashley, Scott, and Christy Campbell. Their daughter got married a couple weeks back, and I wanted to give a special shout out to them. So there's some definite celebratory great things happening. Probably wasn't the wedding that they anticipated it to be, but no matter what, the event is phenomenal. So again, just a way to bring tribute to our community. You know, congratulations. And if you know Ashley and you've worked out around her, please message her and just give her a congratulations. I'm sure she'd love to hear. You guys are phenomenal. I can't thank you enough for helping us maintain our ship here. And hopefully we're bringing the value to you guys every day. I really want to bring gratitude to the coaching staff. They are just phenomenal people. They're young people who are going to do great things as they move on in their career. I love every one of them. Gabe and Roberto and Caitlin and Maria and Kyle, Susan, guys, Tori, love every one of you guys. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. This place would not be the place it is without you guys. They're putting countless time in. We're spending a lot of time trying to bring you guys the best that we can over the computers in our workouts, encouraging you to do both your cardio work and your strength work. They are two different things, but they go hand in hand. And if you guys have any questions, I'll hang out for just a minute that I can answer, or you can just direct message me on my cell phone. But I love you guys. I can't wait to get us back in the gym, and we are going to be back in this gym. So make no mistake about that. And when we come back, it'll be bigger and better than ever. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Hopefully what I gave you was helpful, and we'll see everybody next week. Wednesday, live Zoom.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vince.
You betcha.
Right on. Thanks, Vince.
Absolutely, Daryl.
Thank you, Vince.
All right, Miriam, go get them.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Kels. Hey, hopefully I helped you.
You did. It was great. I wrote down a lot.
Atta girl. Stay with it. Hey, any questions, contact me.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Go seize the day. Go do something.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna do the 9:30 class.
Go get it.
Bye.
See you, Vince.
Have a great day, guys.